Yes, everybody, we're back. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto and welcome to this new video on the markets. And this time, a middle of the day market update with good audio. And it's good to be back, all right? It's good to have my normal setup again. That always allows me to make a better update as well. And that's what we're going to do. It's a little bit later, but this is the update going into the weekend. I expect the weekend to be quite volatile still. I expect movement to still occur over the course of the weekend. It might be a little bit more volatile and it might be a little bit less sustainable. So that is something to be aware of, but ultimately we will have moves and it's definitely going to be worth it to check out my videos in the weekend, for example. No, I'm kidding. But well, not completely, but obviously, I mean, it's going to be a little bit more quiet. But in this video, let's get to the point. Let's talk about what's going on in the markets right now. We'll talk about Bitcoin, we'll talk about Ethereum, we'll talk about XRP, we'll talk about altcoins. I have picked certain altcoins which I think are very interesting, which if I go back in I think yesterday or the day before, for example, we called out boom, absolutely pumped afterwards. So those altcoins are worth it. I mean, I'm going to tell you which altcoins have momentum and which altcoins have that type of momentum that they can rally up higher. I think I called boom right here and it went up a total of 30%. So there's definitely value in that. But let's get right into it. So first of all, fundamentals, because we did hear some news. You can see that equities are trading a little bit lower. Equities overall are still bullish, right? So there's no need to worry, but there's some tension between the United States and the EU. With their trade deal, but at this point of time, it seems like that's mostly priced in, to be fair, and that's also, you know, logically. Look, I mean, Trump started with pretty high or pretty low tariffs actually on the EU, but he's always said that he thinks these tariff and non-tariff barriers in the European Union, which, you know, whichever side of the spectrum you're on. That's not what this channel is about. It is true, and he always said that, right? So it was very unlikely that they were going to make a tariff, that they were going to make a deal where nothing changed. So, you know, a 10-20% tariff, I think it's fine. Americans just have to pay a little bit more for that red wine. For that sweet Bordeaux, but so the markets are fine. It was causing a little bit of bearish pressure, but you can also see, you know, volatility index went up, but how much? Not much. Outside of that, Coinbase Bitcoin premium also still at a premium, so that's great. And then the funding rates earlier this morning, those were a little bit overheated compared to last week. They're also a little bit higher right now, but they have decreased. So ultimately, there's nothing wrong with this either. Funding rates are fine. Coinbase Bitcoin premium is fine, and the fundamentals, I would argue, are fine as well. You know, even though they're falling a little bit. So the fundamentals around the markets are fine. Now, if we take a look at Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin is fine as well. Look, I mean, we gave up the 7-day rolling VWAP. Okay, so we have lost. I think we have not completely, but I think we have for now lost the ability to make new all-time highs. Who cares, right? I mean, Bitcoin is very stable and it's stable around 117,000. It can still go up higher later. It can still consolidate here while we have great times. I think this is fine, all right? And you can also see Bitcoin is still holding the value area low. It's holding the 200 EMA. I would go as far as saying that, you know, I think we can drop down into 114,000. Even if we do that, I would say that's more of an opportunity than a reason to be fearful. I mean, if we drop down into 112,000, again, not a reason to be fearful, but then I would say, you know, be a little bit more bearish on the market as a whole. That would be a pretty deep pullback. But for now, Bitcoin is within balance. As you can see, the balance it's trying to form is right here. It's within that. And even if we have a small deviation below that, that's fine too. I mean, that's, for example, and I think this is a good example. That's also what we did. Did we do it right? No. Can I find it real quick? No, so this was June. Yeah, so that's also what we did right here, right? I mean, we had balance, drop down lower, reclaim balance, started to rally up higher. So no, I mean, I think Bitcoin is unlikely to make new all-time highs. I do expect us to bounce right here at this level. Worst case scenario, because of bad news or something, we spike down into 114,000 and then reclaim the range. That's what I expect. And then when we talk about these other majors, right? So XRP. XRP is still holding fine. This morning what I said is that as long as we're holding 3.35, 3.3, we're bullish and we're holding that. All right. So we're losing momentum. So that is a reason why I would also say, and they're also correlated to Bitcoin, so that's a reason why I would say I think it's unlikely that XRP and Ethereum, which by the way also hit major resistance levels, I think it's unlikely that they're going to make new highs, but ultimately I do think they're stable, and I think they will remain stable. And if we're going to pull back on the higher time frames, they're still good too. And XRP on the lower time frames right now is actually still bullish. I mean, if we get some volume in the price, which is unlikely in the weekends, but we can actually make new highs. Well, for Bitcoin, it's less likely. And then when we talk about Ethereum right here, Ethereum is doing fine. I mean, as long as Ethereum is holding 3,500, it's doing great. I mean, Ethereum, I would almost say it's actually most likely that it's going to be able to make new highs here. Maybe it's going to be a bit of a bearish divergence once we do that, right? Maybe we do something like this. And then something like this, that's a possibility, but short term looks great. And the entire market as a whole as well. So let's talk about some altcoins, and then I'm going to finish up this video. So altcoins in general, I made a video on that this morning, are fine. They're at resistance. I expect us to pull back. I expect us to pull back a little bit lower. However, altcoins as a whole, and quite a lot of altcoins, are doing fine. Right now, meme coins are quite strong. There's a couple of altcoins that I wanted to focus on. First of all, Ethereum Classic. Ethereum Classic had massive momentum. It's at a major resistance level right now. I would say either with a pullback into the previous value area high or with a breakout above the current resistance level. I think this is a great buy. The narrative around it, the category around it is very strong. And it has a lot of momentum. This is momentum we haven't seen since the 16th of November, and back then we did great. Curve DAO pulling back very aggressively right now, nearing a major support level right here between 75 and 80 cents. Get a strong reaction there, which I do expect. And this coin is amazing as well. And what coin shall I highlight outside of that? Yeah, maybe Sonic. I mean, I know that there's a very loyal Sonic community. Sonic has reclaimed a very important level right here, right? So this is a very important level. I would wait for the daily time frame to close, but ultimately this is great to see, and it looks most likely that we are going to see more recovery. Those are my thoughts. I think that's what you need to know for now, so hopefully that helps. But for now, thank you for watching, of course. Have a great weekend in advance, and bye.